Why do some people get clingy the second a relationship turns serious, and others vanish at the exact same moment? Why can some people say I love you easily, while others feel a wall slam down inside them they didn't choose and can't explain? For a long time we called this personality, just how someone is, but it isn't personality. It's a blueprint, one that was drawn before you could walk, before you could talk, before you had any say in it whatsoever. And the strangest part, you're still running it today in every relationship you have, mostly without noticing. In the 1950s, a British psychiatrist named John Bowlby was working with children separated from their parents, and he noticed something that changed psychology. Babies don't just want their caregiver. They need them with the same urgency they need food. And from that early bond, whether it's reliable or not, the child builds an internal model. A working template that answers one quiet, enormous question. When I reach out, will someone be there? That answer, formed before you can remember forming it, becomes the lens you see all future relationships through. Bowlby's radical claim was that this template doesn't stay in the nursery. It follows you into your friendships, your marriage, the way you handle a partner not texting back. Decades later, it's still quietly answering that same question for you. Let's start with the one everyone wants. Secure attachment forms when a caregiver was reliably there. Not perfectly, nobody's perfect, just consistently enough. And the child learns a quiet, powerful truth. I can need people, and that's safe. Watch what that does to the adult. They can get close without losing themselves. They can ask for help without it feeling like defeat. When there's conflict, they don't assume the relationship is ending. They assume it can be repaired. They can be vulnerable without bracing for it to be used against them. The research is blunt about this. Secure attachment is the single best predictor of happy, lasting relationships. And here's the hopeful headline before we even get to the hard part. The bar was never perfect, parents. It was just good enough, often enough. Now the one that aches. Anxious attachment forms when the caregiving was inconsistent, warm and present one day, distracted or absent the next, with no way to predict which. So the child learns a survival strategy. Turn the signal way up. Cry louder, cling harder, do whatever it takes to pull the unreliable parent close. And it worked back then. But fast forward. That same child is now the adult who reads a one-word text 14 different ways, who sends the second message before the first is answered, who needs constant reassurance and somehow still doesn't feel reassured. And here's the heartbreak built into it. The very behaviors that come from fear of being left are often the ones that push people away. The strategy that once kept them connected now quietly sabotages the connection they're desperate for. 2 more. Avoidant attachment forms when needing things got you dismissed or rejected. So the child made a brilliant, sad adaptation. They stopped needing. As adults, they're often impressive, independent, capable, self-contained. But intimacy makes them deeply uneasy, and they tend to pull back exactly when things get real, mistaking distance for strength, leaving not because something went wrong but because it started to matter. And then there's disorganized attachment, rarer and more painful, which forms when the caregiver was both the comfort and the threat. Imagine that impossible bind for a small child. The person you run to for safety is the person you're afraid of. As an adult, it often looks like someone who desperately wants closeness and destroys it with their own hands, caught forever between come here and go away. Okay, if you just recognized yourself in one of the harder ones, here's the part one really want you to hear. Your attachment style is not a life sentence. It is not who you are. It is what you learned, and things you learned can be unlearned. The research even has a name for this earned secure attachment. Through therapy, through one steady, safe relationship that slowly teaches your nervous system a new lesson. Through the simple, unglamorous work of noticing your pattern as it happens, people genuinely move from anxious or avoidant towards secure. It's not fast and it's not magic, but it is real and it is documented. The blueprint was drawn in pencil, not ink. And the very first step is just this, seeing clearly which one you've been running. Because you cannot change a pattern you can't yet see. So which one are you? The secure steadiness, the anxious reach, the avoidant pull, or the push and pull of disorganized? Sit with that for a second, because the honest answer is the beginning of everything. You adapted perfectly to the world you were handed as a child. The only question left is whether that adaptation is still serving the adult you've become. Next video, we follow this thread outward into friendship. Why some last a lifetime and others quietly fade, and what the science says actually makes the difference. Subscribe. This is Mind.